out the Rutgers University Martial Arts Instagram account. They've got some great stuff on there. It's absolutely hilarious. I really recommend checking it out. I'm Kay Vicious. This is my full, extended, uncut interview with Isaac Wang, the president of the Rutgers University Mixed Martial Arts Club.
Islam Makhachev, he was a lightweight champ. Now he's the welterweight champ. He does the sequence where he's trying to take down Jack Della Maddalena, who's his opponent, and he just throws like a 1-2, I think, and then he reaches down and grabs a single. And we were working that like a week or two ago, so it's pretty cool to see the stuff we're doing like actually show up in real fights.
Does anyone ever get hurt? Have you ever seen an injury at the club?
Yeah, I mean, injuries happen every once in a while. Nothing too severe. We try to keep everything super light and controlled, and of course, it's always a work in progress of getting people to learn that control and sort of rein in your ability to do the movement safely. But safety is a big concern for us, and the room is padded, so I'm not gonna say there's no injuries, but I do think our club is pretty safe for anyone.
How long have you been doing martial arts, Isaac?
Yeah, so I've been doing martial arts for a long time. I've been doing karate for over 10 years. That's like the martial arts I started with.
I think when most people hear the word martial arts, I think they immediately think of karate.
Yeah.
What striking difference, even though that is a form of martial arts, what striking difference would you present between karate and the mixed martial arts form?
Yeah, so when I got to Rutgers, when I was a freshman a few years ago, that's when I started learning like Muay Thai and like the other rule sets, and I started doing jiu-jitsu too. The big difference between karate and I would say like MMA MMA striking or like Muay Thai striking is karate's got a lot more movement to it. Like you got guys bouncing around. They're just trying to land one strike a lot of the time, depending on what kind of karate you're doing. Whereas Muay Thai, MMA, you're standing right in front of the guy, you're trading back and forth. In comparison to Muay Thai, MMA does have a bit more movement because you're worried about takedowns, but there's still, you're hitting and you're doing these exchanges, and there's no break in the action.
Now, in the defense of these bouncy people, because we know as in boxing, a lot of people like to say stay loose and bounce. Have you ever seen any of those street fights on like Twitter or X, whatever you want to call it now that it's like a smut account, like a smut social media site now, X? I don't know if you ever seen the street fights they post on there where those guys will be doing what they do, the fighting. Have you ever seen them?
Like in
any of the
person
street fights on like posted videos of street fights?
Yeah, on
You've seen
social
them, right?
media, I do like to go. I do like to look around for real fights because I feel like it's as a martial artist, like part of the appeal is like, oh, I'm prepared for a situation like that. So I do like to go online and look up street fights or whatever, and
I don't look them up. That's my algorithm. But I think here's something that strikes me about that. I always notice this one little thing that goes on, and I think it's what everyone does wrong in these street fights. It's the leaning back, right? And
sure.
Do you want to talk about that? Because I think you might know about what I'm talking about, right?
Oh, yeah. So I feel like for a lot of people, even when they join the club for the first time and they maybe are sparring, they have this gut instinct to like lean backwards. I'm leaning away from the mic, but lean backwards, and they kind of to like wind their hands up. And I'm not gonna say it's the worst thing, like you're getting your head out of the way. But if you're in Muay Thai or in MMA, you're totally leaving that lead leg open to be kicked. So that's one thing. And then also you're kind of scared of punches, so you're not really able to react to things properly, and also get your own offense off because you're leaning so far back. So the lean back is definitely a move that you can do, especially in boxing. Like Floyd would lean way back. There's another Muay Thai fighter named Lurdzilla, who's famous for like leaning like 90 degrees back and dodging kicks in like this crazy way. So there's a time and place for leaning back, but definitely if that's what you're just stuck kind of doing that.
Why do you think people do that? What do you think draws people to lean back? Are they just scared of the fight? Because if that's the case, why did you engage in the first place?
No, exactly. Yeah, I think a lot of people, they talk a big game, they're ready to throw down, but when they realize they're in a real fight and they're really going to get hurt and the punches are getting thrown at them, like it's scary, and they lean back and they, do all these movements to try and like comfort themselves. Even though those, a lot of times, like I was saying, leaning back, it doesn't really help you.
Well, Isaac, have you ever been in a real fight on the streets? Let's incriminate you a little bit. Have you ever?
I have not. I've heard of a few of my friends, I think, have gone to fights. A few guys, I've talked to a few guys at jiu-jitsu who were talking about their like self-defense stories. But Me personally, no. No.
Well, I know I sparred you earlier this semester, and I think it went pretty well. I mean, I'm still here. But no, I think it went well. I think you're one of the guys that are a lot safer to spar with, that I feel more comfortable when I go with. Not just because I'm 2 times bigger than you, but because I do feel that extra level of I've been hit, at Ruma, Rutgers Martial Arts, pretty hard, where I've left seeing stars. So there's definitely that thing of,
Yeah, I mean, I feel like that's again like that's something we're always trying to work on. I think a lot of you would think that like, oh, if I'm going against someone who's really experienced, that they're going to be the ones to mess me up. But it's actually the newcomers, the guys who are just doing this for the first time, who still have a lot of nerves, and sometimes they might throw a punch that's a little too hard. But like I said, it's always something we're trying to work on. Recently, what we've been doing is a lot more tech sparring or touch sparring, which is barely touching your opponent. Not even sometimes not even with the gloves on, like just playing a game of tag. I think that really shows people how to spar lightly and really properly. So
that's some game of tag. If you don't understand, sparring is full on, like, that's live action type go. You know what I mean? How do you explain sparring to someone who doesn't know what sparring is? How would you do that?
Yeah, so I'd say sparring, we usually do it after drilling, and it's just sort of a way to test the techniques that you've been learning and try to apply them to a real scenario. So it's not a real fight. There's no winners in sparring. That's what we like to say. But you're throwing techniques. You're just trying to land them. So there's certain things that you can learn with sparring, like what works and what doesn't, what you can land, the way you like to stand, what your stance is. But at the end of the day, it's just kind of playing around and having fun and getting a good workout in. So it doesn't really tell you, oh, I beat that guy in sparring, so therefore I can beat him in a fight. That's not really how it works. You're kind of just trying to learn and grow.
And who do you recommend everyone to spar, or do you recommend people to just come and drill and then spar? Like, do you recommend someone to come spar on their first day of training ever? Would you recommend that? Because I would.
I think it depends. I think if you really are interested in sparring, and that's like one of the things that has brought you to the club and to martial arts in general, then I'd say go for it. I think the one thing is that you just got to be careful. Like, you got to know not only that your partner is going to be safe with you and they're not going to try and beat the brakes off of you, but also that you can throw with control and be respectful, I would say, with your sparring too, because there's a lot of the way I think about martial arts. I'm a philosophy major, so the way I think of martial arts is it's a conversation. It's fighting is really a language too. You're trying to communicate something, and there's a lot of, just like when we're having a conversation, there's a lot of unwritten rules about how to spar properly and how to fight properly too. You'll see UFC fighters who, they touch gloves, and there's a certain etiquette to things if you're keen enough to pick up on it.
So what type of people do you think you're looking for when it comes to joining something like a martial arts organization? Not just specifically Ruma, but what type of people overall do you think you would recommend to do this? Any specific type of person, or?
Yeah, well, I mean, obviously I'm a little biased, but I really think martial arts is something for everybody. In terms of our club specifically, we're very newcomer friendly. Like, we got people who show up and it's their first day. They've never done martial arts ever. And we got guys with like undefeated amateur records coming in to, show what they know, get some work in. And people, in between that. For martial arts in general, I'd say, yeah, again, it's like martial arts is for everybody. What I think is cool about martial arts is that it really shows strength and diversity. Like, every culture has their own way of fighting.
When you say culture, what do you mean by that? Because that's pretty interesting. Because I think, what do you mean by culture?
Yeah, so if you look at every region of the world just has their own martial art. Like, you think of Japan with karate. China's got kung fu, sanda.
Okay, I'm a journalist for the streets, so where I see and what I watch, not so much as martial arts, but just people fighting in general. It's usually those, when I was talking about the whole leaning back thing. It's those people with their pants half down and they're swinging. Would you consider that a culture?
Yeah, I mean, I think
backdoor alleyway mug type fighting, is that a culture?
In some ways, I think we also learn fighting from what we see in media, and I would say that, like, in those areas where you see people fighting in the street with their hands down, leaning back, that's how you learn to fight. That's a culture.
If you get nothing else out of this, keep your hands up when you fight. I think
Absolutely.
that's a huge thing that people neglect. I think that's the biggest thing. I think if you can at least keep your hands up, even if you got to cradle into a ball on the ground,
Oh,
at
for
least
sure.
keep your hands
That could save
up.
your life. I'm definitely guilty of keeping my hands low, but definitely if I were in a real situation, I'd have to pick them up for sure. Even though I think I fight better with my hands low, but um, or at least it depends. But definitely in a real situation, I'd pick them up to be safe.
I think this is turning into a real sport, though. I mean, it's been a real sport in my mind, but I think it's turning into a sport that's wildly accepted by more than just people who are DUR and K drunk. I think it's becoming a sport that's really becoming accepted now because it faced such scrutiny for a long time. I don't know if you remember John McCain.
Oh, it did. Yeah, I know. I remember what John McCain was saying. He said it was human cockfighting, and I definitely understand why people are put off by MMA, but I think anybody who takes the time to kind of learn about it and watch some fights, maybe get into the gym themselves, they'll really see how.
Just not when I'm there, yeah?
Yeah.
Stay away when I'm at the gym.
They'll really see how MMA it's an art, like fighting is an art as much as it is a sport. I would say it's an art before it's a sport. And there's a lot of human expression that's going on. There's a lot of really profound things that you can see in MMA. And, if you just look at the UFC at face value, like it can be kind of reductive and you might not get all of that. But if you take the time to really look into it, I think it's a lot more than human cockfighting, like John McCain said.
What made you run for president of a martial arts organization? Like, out of all the things you could have ran for president of, I'm sure you're good at other things. Why this? Or is this all you're good at?
Honestly, it's probably the thing I'm best at this point. But I don't know. I just feel like I was martial arts for me has always been an outlet, and I'm there all the time because in some ways I need to be there. Like I get jittery if I don't do martial arts. So
They make medicine for that.
yeah, they do. I should, maybe my therapist will give me some. But yeah, like I do a lot of martial arts. It's something that I need to do, so might as well be president for the club.
Wow. I wonder if that's the thinking that's leading our country. I think, speaking of that, bro, I think it's pretty gnarly that they're going to have a UFC event at the White House. I was talking to,
Yeah.
do you believe that? Do you think they're going to actually pull it off, or do you
I
think?
don't know. I mean, our president says a lot of things.
But this is like really, they've been
I wouldn't be
working on
surprised, but I wouldn't be surprised if it also doesn't happen.
it. Do you think it's a good thing for the sport?
It's a tough question. I mean, I think my intuition is that it's not. I think when I think of the UFC's leadership right now, I don't really like where it's at. I think, on the one hand, I think everything is political to an extent, but I also think that the way that the UFC has been politicized is kind of dangerous. I do think that a lot of MMA gyms can be sort of breeding grounds for toxic behavior when it comes to beliefs about masculinity and even race and gender sometimes. Like if you look at fighters like Sean Strickland or Bryce Mitchell, who have said some pretty questionable things.
Because we're not racist over here. At WRSU, we are not racist. Especially here at Argue with the Bars. We are completely not racist. Right, Isaac?
Yeah, definitely. And not racist at Rumor, too. Like, I really feel like martial arts is something for everybody, and I wonder if that message comes across when we propose ideas like a White House card. I think I was listening to Brandon Royval, who's a top flyweight, and he was talking about how, he's there to perform in front of his fans and his people, really, and he doesn't want to fight in front of billionaires, and I think that's a great sentiment to have about the White House card.
I actually thought it was a good idea. I
Alright.
thought it was like going to be something that was going to be like, we've made it. We're out the hood now. We're made. But speaking of the hood, it was a big weekend for MSG. I don't know if you know, but it was a huge weekend for MSG. Beyond even tonight, like beyond just the UFC, fight sports in general. I don't know if you know that Raw was at at MSG last night, Monday Night Raw. That's a WWE type.
I
of thing.
didn't. I'm not as into WWE, so I don't know too much.
It was a big one last night. It was John Cena's last match on Monday Night Raw, and
that's
Rey
cool.
Mysterio came out there, and Brock Lesnar was there, and they had Roman Reigns, and all the faces that we love were there. And I mean, tonight they're back there again at the theater. I don't know if you know what the theater is. That's the place. That's the little basement of
small one,
MSG. Yeah, they're doing their like developmental show there tonight.
Cool.
I mean, I think that's really good for that city. I mean, all of that. But the UFC event, I think they did very good because tickets
Oh
were
yeah,
going for like
they always sell out.
starting
So.
at like 1K.
And it was a huge card too. In case anybody doesn't know, so like I was saying before, Islam Makhachev, he was the lightweight champ. He dropped the lightweight belt and he was moving up to welterweight to fight the champion there, who was Jack Della Maddalena. He won, so he joins a very very small group of UFC fighters who are champs in 2 different weight classes. So
We call those double champ, dude. But it's like growing so much. The list of people who are considered double champs. The list is small, but it's getting big. And he tied Anderson Silva, I think, with the
oh yeah,
win
he tied
streak.
Anderson Silva. No, I think Islam is definitely he's up there. He's on the GOAT list. I think he's only got that one loss to some guy on his come up, and it's like a knockout. So I think he's really shown that he's one of the best fighters of all time.
I'm guilty because I started watching at the early prelims, but I haven't gotten through the whole thing. Isn't that a shame? To pay for an event and not have gotten through the whole thing. I mean, it's just been rough. But what was your favorite fight of the night, and tell me why? Because I thought the Islam fight was great,
Ooh.
mainly because I liked how he systematically was working that guy down. Like, it was like a round by round.
It's impressive too because JDM, he's very in his past fights he's been shown that he has like a good grappling base, like he can avoid takedowns and he's got good submission defense, which he did show his submission defense this last fight. But he's a big guy, he's a great striker, and Islam was able to sort of nullify that for most of the fight and just hold him down the whole time. In terms of my favorite fight, I did think it was a little bit boring because Islam was just dominating him the whole time. But
So what do you want? Do you like to see when there's like a knockout or a submission in a round? Do you like to see things go the distance? You personally? Because me, I mean, if I pay to be there, I guess I want to see something. I don't want to leave an hour early.
I think I can appreciate both, but the best fights of all time are honestly the ones that go longer to like last like the 4 or 5 rounds. My favorite fight is probably Yuri Prohaska versus Glover Teixeira, and that was like all 5 rounds, and at the last second somebody snatches up a submission. But it's those fights that go the distance really show you like all the work they've put in, all the techniques, and also like resiliency that they have, like to go those 25 minutes, pedal to the floor the whole time. So
What's your diet like, Isaac? What do you eat? What do you is it specific? Do you care about what you eat at all, or is it just like you just?
You mean in terms of MMA, like for training and stuff, I should probably get more protein. I'm actually vegetarian, so I don't eat meat, but I eat a lot of tofu. I eat a lot of beans, eggs, cheese, and stuff like that. I think unfortunately I eat a lot of pasta too, so a lot of starch. But I try to get in my protein and stay hydrated and stuff for training too.
Oh, that's good. Because I've been losing a lot of weight lately, which is amazing. But I've done it the old-fashioned way. I'm not doing the pills. I'm doing it the old-fashioned way, so I don't have to.
Yeah, I guess it's worth saying too. If anyone's out there looking to get in shape, martial arts is a great way to do that. I get a lot of guys who say, "Oh, I want to do MMA, but I'm too, fat or too skinny to do it." But you'll put on muscle doing MMA, not like the most muscle, but if you work out and you're doing MMA, you'll gain a little bit of muscle. And if you're looking to lose weight, MMA is great cardio. I always say that when you're doing martial arts, you're working, you're lifting weight because you're working with another human being, but you're also doing cardio and some calisthenics works because you got to work your own body. And
I think throwing
around
constant shots too, like constantly punching, and even just warming up with shots is very exhausting. I think that's the most exhausting part sometimes, honestly.
Oh yeah, and our warm-ups at Room are very
That's a whole nother level of exhausting.
kind of they're very wrestling inspired. So we do a lot of like forward rolls and cartwheels and all that type of stuff. So if you want to come learn to do that stuff too, it's
And
a
like
great
some
place to
people
come.
do handstands, and I've landed on my back. But it's really cool because even if I feel like no matter where you train, but specifically for Ruma, even once you start doing it and you try it, even if it doesn't work out for you when you try, you keep coming back, you keep going, and you stay for a little bit. And I mean, there's no pressure. That's what's amazing. Like, you get the chance to keep trying. So I think that's what makes martial arts so cool. There's no...
Absolutely. and it's, if we got people there who just like to come and do basically cardio kickboxing, hit pads and just kind of get a workout in. And I will say, like, a lot of people think that martial arts is useless unless it can win a fight, but like, I still enjoy doing like a karate form or a kata every once in a while, and I think it's the act of fighting, even if you're not fighting anybody, is very rewarding in of itself. Even if you're just, in your room shadow boxing or doing some, I think in Taekwondo they call it like pumse. So I think, even if you're not going to become an MMA fighter or you have no desire to fight, like, it's still a really, really rewarding experience.
Oof, that's nice. Enough of that. Right. What did you think of the song I played at the beginning of the show? It's a Hurricane Wisdom song, and he's having a concert tomorrow in New York City, NYC. What did you think of that song? Were you able to understand his voice? Did you hear what he was saying really well, or was it tough for you?
I wasn't paying attention to the lyrics, but I liked it. It's definitely something.
Oh, you were so nervous to be here. That's why.
Yeah. I could definitely see myself, working out to it, putting it on during sparring maybe, so.
Oh, God. Back to that then. What do you like to play when you're training? Beyond just martial arts or even in martial arts? What's like something that gets you hype?
I listen to a lot of Deftones. I'm sure everyone at Ruma knows that I like to put Deftones on during sparring. A lot of My Chemical Romance I've been listening to recently. Sometimes in terms of like more chill stuff, like I'll listen to Joji. I like MF Doom. My music taste is all over the place, but even like some emo, honestly. Like if I'm at the gym and I just want to be miserable. And
Isaac, I need you to get closer to the mic. I want you all in it. I'm talking about in it.
All right, I'm closer now. Yeah, but I was saying, like,
Any.
If I want to feel miserable and kind of work it out, I'll definitely throw on some American football, stuff like that.
Well, that was harsh. That's a miserable.
Yeah, I mean he's talking about some sad stuff. So.
Oh man. So do you think Little Peep is miserable?
He's
dead.
But
Peep, do you think he's miserable?
I haven't listened.
It's almost been 10 years probably since he's
been
been.
A long time.
Oh
I remember he
gosh.
sampled what's it? Death Consciousness, that one song, and I like that song. But I don't know. I always thought his music was a little bit a little silly. I don't know.
Oh,
He was
so
definitely melodramatic for me, but I can see the appeal for sure.
yeah, I just don't think he got to get where he should have got. Does that make sense, or is that crazy? Like, I feel like he didn't really get to evolve to the level he was supposed to evolve to because he's dead.
Yeah.
So
I can see that.
how old was he when he passed? Like what? 20? Not even 25.
20 something. I don't know. I wasn't the hugest Little Peep fan, so I don't know.
Oh man! And then another one, Juice World. I think he went in like what 2020 or something. I don't know if you know that guy too. He's pretty.
Yeah, I wasn't really into the whole like emo rap type of movement, but yeah, I know a lot of them, like X too, like unfortunately passed too soon. But I do kind of, yeah, you're right. I do wonder how they would have played out.
Do you think when these people pass away, which is the nice way you like to put it, when these people die, do you think that it makes them more popular, or do you think it changes their legacy in a way that shifts it? Like, do you think they would have evolved to a higher level? Because I always wonder that about like Biggie or Tupac. I wasn't alive in the 90s. I'm young. So I was born in 03, right? So like for the 90s, people like Biggie and Pac, I know they were popular then, but I wonder if they would have reached the level they're at now as in memorable, or if they would have faded away.
That's
as
a good
musicians.
question. I think with some people, like, I feel like with Tupac, like he's so entrenched in the canon, it's because he's got like a great catalog. So I feel like with that, probably wouldn't have affected his legacy too much. But I do think it does it does change your legacy in some way. It makes it it characterizes it. And I do think with some of the emo rappers who I feel like, me personally, like I wasn't really a huge fan of their music, I do feel like maybe they wouldn't have been as popular, but who's to say?
Here's a good thought, right? Do you ever feel more inclined to listen to an artist once you know they're no longer alive like that, or once someone passes? Do you ever think, well, let me check out what they had now that they're gone? Does that ever spark into your mind?
Sometimes I think it's hard because I feel like a lot of artists who pass away, their record label like just uses all the stuff in their
I think Peep's mom
like
runs his, or someone related to Gus runs his stuff, or I think Biggie's mom was running her stuff, but she just died too in February at the ripe old age of 70 something, I think.
Yeah, like I think it's hard because sometimes the record labels are just trying to get a cash grab, so I'm also inclined not to listen to the music as much. But I think of like Mac Miller. Like I think his stuff was done. His posthumous stuff was put out pretty tastefully, and that was stuff that I was inclined to listen to. So
Oh, so maybe if I die, people will be more inclined to listen to this.
maybe we can
I
spar
think-
right now.
And you're going to do what to me?
I
Is this a
don't know.
confession? No,
It's
I
supposed to be
think
a
no. I definitely think that because Biggie had a song on his album that came out, his final album. It was "You're Nobody Till Somebody Kills You," and I thought that was very. We can talk about this now because Puff Daddy's in jail, so it's okay. We're safe. But I thought that was very telling because it's like very poetic, or maybe
Yeah,
I'm just too
creepily
looking.
poetic.
You think so? You think it's creepy and poetic?
Well, yeah. I mean, considering what happened. I mean, I don't know too much about sort of that
The
era of
lore?
rap, but
The lore behind.
yeah, I know there's crazy lore behind a lot of these guys, so I'm not too educated to talk on it.
I mean, people are like in jail behind all this stuff. There's like files worth of information sitting in like the government's office behind this stuff. Is there anything like that in martial arts? I can't think of anything off the top of my head, but is there any kind of lore like that? I mean, Conor McGregor wants to be president of Ireland or something, but that's not really.
Yeah,
that
I mean
doesn't
that's so. I feel like there definitely is. There's lots of lore. A lot of these guys have like weird political ties. I know like Hamza Chimaev, like he's I'm forgetting the name of the dictator, but he was training with the dictator. So they have some political ties. I think Habib has some weird political ties too. Obviously, all the stuff with the White House and Trump. The UFC is very cozy with them. Dana White actually spoke at Trump's inauguration, I think.
Okay, so I think we need to look at the big picture, right? Do you know TKO? I'm sure you are aware of TKO.
Yeah,
What do you
TKO.
think about TKO? Yeah, now we're getting
Yeah,
now we're getting there.
No, you gotta be careful. No, I think TKO.
You got to be careful fully.
is,
Trump's listening, man.
Yeah. Well,
FCC's watching.
yeah. I think TKO is definitely a little problematic. Like I think one of the not tragedies, but one of the downsides of a company like the UFC being so big is that it takes attention away from like the local MMA scene. And I'm not the best at keeping up with local MMA, but fighting isn't just interesting at that really high level. It's also super entertaining to just go to your local promotions and see what's going on with guys. So I feel like companies like TKO, companies like the UFC, who kind of monopolize the sport of MMA, they do a disservice to those local.
So what do you think
promotions.
can be done? Because you talk about the local scene, but I feel like the local scene does not promote well enough. Like maybe they'll put up 2 or 3 things in places where no one's gonna see them, as in like they'll stick up things you stick in the ground, and we have a thing coming up, and they stick it in the dirt somewhere, and like no one sees that. But what can we do as people who are involved in this sport to promote our local scene? Or do you have any? Is that something you've ever thought about? And do you think maybe Ruma could be a part of that in some way?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's up to every gym to kind of promote their own, what fighters they got, going to events and stuff. But I think a big part of it is just it's the same thing with music. Like you got local music going on, you gotta put up flyers and get people engaged. I think part of it is that it just there is still kind of a stigma around it, and the UFC seems very clean and put together, and I think it's difficult for local organizations to kind of get that same pristine look to them. But I think if we invest more money and if the culture changes a bit and is more willing to accept stuff like that, then I think it could really change. I mean, in Thailand, where Muay Thai is like super popular, I'm sure people are going out to see fights like all the time, and it's just kind of like
It's something about Muay Thai fights and UFC fights. The Muay Thai fights always seem slightly more brutal to me. I don't know if it's because I'm always watching like the lightweight fighters, and every time they throw a punch, I'm like, oh, it's gonna snap him in half. But it always looks 10 times brutal than a regular like UFC fight. Maybe it's because there's no going to the ground. Maybe because I think they're a lot less conscious of that because they're not worried about takedowns. Is
Yeah, I
that
mean,
why it's more brutal?
I think there's a lot to it. I think first of all, like if you're just doing Muay Thai, you're just doing striking, like they're just gonna be better strikers at one point. Like they're just gonna be more brutal. They're gonna know more. The other part of it is, like you said, like they don't gotta worry about going to the ground. So a lot of MMA fighters are gonna be kind of hesitant to get real up close and personal because that's when you get taken down the easiest. And then another part of it is because there's no takedowns, the stances are a bit different. So in Muay Thai, like you're just standing closer together and you're you're throwing more weapons and more shots. So that's definitely part of it. I think they're both entertaining, but I think
And if you don't
MMA
know what Muay Thai is, by the way, that's a sport where you use 8 limbs. So it involves the elbows and the knees and
punches and kicks.
yeah. So that's like they call it the art of 8 limbs. And there's no going to the ground, no grabbing someone's leg and slamming them to the ground and pounding on them and then making them choke out. That's all mixed martial arts. That's that UFC stuff. There's also another organization out there in the U.S. called Bare Knuckle. Have you seen that one?
Yeah. Bare knuckle's interesting. I think
That's a word for it.
yeah, the game the game completely changes when you don't have gloves because well, first of all, a lot of people think that gloves are to protect your opponent. And in sparring, that's kind of true. But gloves are really there to protect your wrists and your knuckles. So when you're bare knuckle boxing, like you really got to make sure you know how to throw a punch properly. And another thing that the bare knuckles do is it opens cuts a lot easier. So when you punch somebody, the chance of them getting cut is significantly higher.
Where do they find these people for bare knuckle? What bar are they going into and advertising?
Well, a lot of bare knuckle guys are like ex UFC fighters. So, MMA's not working out. You go to bare knuckle.
Have you seen the samurai one?
Samurai.
Now this is a deep dive. I was watching Judge Judy the other night. I love that girl. She's hot. But I was watching Judy the other night, and then I saw this ad for this thing, and it was samurai martial arts, and these guys put on full like samurai gear. I don't even know how to.
That's cool.
And they had like a sword.
Yeah, I've seen it with like HEMA style with like a European knight armor. I haven't seen with samurai stuff, but I'll have to go check that out.
You haven't seen that? You have no. I'm gonna show it to you before we leave. Just remind me.
Gotcha.
And a lot of people who are listening to this are getting ready for $2 Tuesday, so I'm sure they're pre-gaming, probably listening to this, and they're probably thinking they're going crazy. But I'm not making that up. There is really a martial arts out there where people wear full-on samurai gear, get in a cage, and then one guy's got a sword, the other guy's got a sword, and they're going at it.
I think the swords are dull, which is interesting because I feel like at that point, I would just drop the sword and like do full MMA.
That's still something to look at. What about street beefs? Have you seen street beefs?
Yeah, I've seen street beefs. I thought about every time I watch a street beefs, I'm like, maybe I should do that.
I think that's where I belong. I think I belong in like a street beefs type of place. I don't think I'd be good in like
it's because it's really hit or miss with street beefs. Sometimes you get guys who are like, that guy should go pro. Sometimes you see guys and it's like, man, like whoever let you fight.
So Isaac, in your mind, what does it take to go pro? What does it mean to go pro? What do you need to do to go pro? Would you ever go pro? Where do you see yourself going with this?
Yeah, I mean I ask that question to myself all the time. I can see myself maybe doing like maybe an amateur fight down the line. I would like to do a smoker. So a smoker is like it's not like a scored fight or anything. You're kind of just doing it for fun. I could definitely see myself doing a smoker. I don't think I could see myself going pro because I'm trying to get a PhD in psychology. So, getting punched in the head and doing that are not conducive. But as for your first question about what it takes to go pro, I really think it's like with most things in life. Like you really got to put your all into it. It's got to be you got to eat, sleep, breathe, like live MMA. And that's what
I haven't heard too many people who say like, "Oh, I'm a pro martial arts fighter. I just kind of got into it." Most people who get into that kind of thing and end up there usually have put in a lot of thought and hours into getting there. It's usually not something that they just wake up and do. Because some people think they can wake up and just do that. And
yeah, no, it's the thing with MMA. Like I said, I think this is the way it is with a lot of things. It's like you got to want it really bad. And it's one of those things where if you mess up, if you're trying to go pro and it doesn't work out, like you could be in serious trouble because
but why?
Like,
why do people want to do that? Like, because I talk to, and I'm asking you this, I have an idea why I would want to do it. But like when I'm with my elderly relatives, and we love our elderly viewers, but when I'm talking to my elderly relatives or watching fighting with elderly relatives, they're always like, there's no money in the world that would make me do this. But I think it's bigger than the money because there's not always a lot of money in it. So why?
I think
shout out to the elderly.
It's kind of a need. I think that's another part of it too. Is you have to need to do this thing. At least for me, martial arts is one of those things where it's like I've got so much going on with like school and grades and personal things, social life, whatever. But in a way, MMA is very simple. Like it's very intuitive. Like when you're sparring, like I'm just trying to hit and not get hit. And of course, it gets more complicated like that when you learn techniques and stuff. But it's kind of relaxing. I think with fighters, fighting to them is a lot more than just a fight. Like it's about their esteem is involved in it. It's symbolic of a lot
When
of
you
things.
say esteem, you're saying self-esteem, yeah? Or do you mean like steam as in I'm letting off all this steam, or is it both?
It could be both. But
Yeah.
I was talking about self-esteem.
So it's like a validating thing for a lot of people?
Yeah, I think it's a validating thing. It's their way of running from whatever they've got going on.
That
And I think,
scares me a little because then I start to think of like that ego chase, and I never want to be on an ego chase, but like sometimes I do because sometimes I want to be in there and like pick the biggest guy and spar with. And shout out to the biggest guy at Ruma because that's the one who had me seeing stars. But I
it's
sometimes,
difficult, but
yeah.
I think obviously in sparring that's not the attitude you want to take. But when you're fighting for real, I feel like you're in a way you're fighting everybody but the guy in front of you. You're fighting all the stuff you've had to go through in your life. You're putting all of that all those demons, to use a kind of cringy way of saying, all those demons you're putting onto that guy, and you're fighting those things. And I think with most things that are really profound and worth doing in life, like martial arts, I think it's kind of got to be crazy. Like you were saying, like how some people are like, man, there's no amount of money you could pay me to do that, and it's like, if you want to be a fighter, you got to take that kind of leap of faith. I think it's the same thing with music. Like, what are the chances that music works out? You don't do it because it's rational or makes sense or it's the smart thing to do. You do it because it's not the smart thing to do, because there's this magic about it, and you got to chase that. So
I think that's a good comparison, comparing martial arts to music. I think that's a really good comparison. And then also the fact that you got to put a lot of money into martial arts. But for all us Rutgers people out there, it's not that expensive to join Ruma, which is what's also very amazing about Ruma. Because how much does a usual gym cost to join, Isaac? Tell these people.
Yeah. I mean, a regular gym can cost like $100 would be cheap a month for a gym. So a lot of these gyms are charging like $200, and that's on top of getting gear and making the drive. If you want to fight, sometimes you gotta pay to fight. Sometimes, so it's expensive, but like I said, if this is what you love, that's what you do. And I think Ruma is a great place to kind of dip your toe in the water. Our dues are like $40 a semester. We have a deal where you could do 70 for the whole year, so it's pretty fantastic in my opinion.
Oh yeah, I think too, like, because I think I pay around one something for mine every month, so that's like a really good deal, 40 for an entire semester. I think that should really entice people to at least come give it a shot. And I think you offer trials too, right? Like one class.
You get like 2 free classes, so yeah.
That's really nice, Isaac. You're such a great president. What else do you see? Because you've got another semester here running this club. What are your goals for this club? What do you want to produce out of this club? Where do you want to see the club go with your one semester left?
So we one thing we're trying to work on is definitely get in more seminars or like guest instructors. We got a lot of great guys in the area. New Jersey, I think, is especially like for grappling is really great. So I want to get those guys in the club and people, making those connections too. Like if we bring in a guest instructor and you really gel with them and find out they're in your area, go check their gym out. So another thing I want to do is I want to get more people involved. Like I feel like we got a lot of guys, so getting more girls involved in the club, stuff like that. Just expanding our audience.
What's your advertising method, Ben? Well, you're here, but this doesn't count. What's your what's like real advertising? What have you guys done? Are you planning to like put up flyers somewhere? Can I put them up? Help you guys put them up, and then put mine up next to yours, just bigger.
We haven't printed flyers, but we do have an Instagram. When we post on the Instagram, we do techniques of the month. So
I think I've been seeing that, and by the way, the Instagram is amazing. I think you guys have been really using that much better lately, and I've been confused. Like in the past, I was like, why aren't they using the IG?
Yeah, shout out to Wayne. He's our PR guy. He's been doing a great job.
I mean, really, it's really fun. Some of the videos are very funny. I've seen some pretty funny, but like this guy Kenyana, which is very similar name to mine, but I saw him like doing a little funny thing with some little guy. I thought that was absolutely hilarious. I watched that.
That was me.
You were the little guy.
I was the little guy. Yeah, it was. The joke is when you're sparring a much bigger opponent. Kenyana's like twice my size or whatever. So, funny thing is he's always like oh, your kicks are like way too fast. And I'm like, bro, like, what are you talking about? Like, he's great. He's Kenyatta is awesome. He's
In
very
his
fast.
defense, bro,
Yeah.
getting kicked is not that's a serious thing. A kick is a very serious. Anyone who's out there who's watched Baddies knows a kick is you know what Baddies is?
I don't think I do. Maybe I'm just not a.
That's another thing I gotta add to the list of things to show you. Baddies. It's this show where they get a bunch of girls and they bring them to different places and then they fight. Have you ever seen that? Ever heard of the
Sounds like
show
my kinda
Bad
show.
Girls Club?
No, I have not. You're showing me all these different types of things.
Oh man, you've got to get out more. What do you do then besides martial arts? Like, what do you look at? What besides martial arts? What's like your top 5?
My top 5.
Not just TV, but like things to look at, things to enjoy, pop culture in our modern
Pop
world.
culture. Well, I'm really into music. I play bass, a little bit of guitar.
You said you like to go to basement shows too.
Yeah. I go to when I can. I recently not as much. I'm in the middle of applying for grad school, so that's been a little difficult. But yeah, I'm really into music, all kinds of music too. So we were talking about doom metal before, like Electric Wizard and
Yeah, we had a great conversation before this all started.
yeah.
Once we started, it went downhill.
Sleep is another great doom metal band. Let's see what else have I listened to recently. Like I said, Deftones I listen to a lot of. Weezer,
Have you been to any
MF
Oh,
Doom.
Weezer. Gosh, love them. Have you been to any concerts lately?
What
What's
was
the last
show
one?
I went
Yeah.
to? I saw 21 Pilots pretty recently. 21 Pilots is my favorite band. I know it's gonna be funny to some people, but
Wow.
yeah. Oh, I saw
You're
My
brave.
Chemical Romance. My Chemical Romance was the last show. Saw them over the summer.
We can
That was-
edit that last part you said out. Don't worry. We'll edit that out. We'll edit the 21 Pilots out. We'll just put.
I thought I swear it or something, but no. I
You're
guess it's
hearing
worse than
things.
that.
He didn't say that. No.
Their last album was great, by the way. People should definitely check it out.
Are you talking about the MCR album or the 21 Pilots?
The 21 Pilots?
I didn't even know they put it. I don't even like.
Yeah.
No, I'm not a. That's not my thing.
No, I got you.
Did you hear the last MCR album though?
I don't think they've put out anything recently, but
No, they did. They did. They put out. Was it just a song or was it a full album?
Foundations of Decay was the last single.
Okay, yes, that was terrible.
Yeah. You didn't like it?
No, did you hear the last Pierce the Veil album?
I listened to some of it. I've seen Pierce the Veil too. I thought it was okay. I didn't really like some of the songs didn't really stick, but I really like Misadventures, which is the second to last album they put out. That's probably my favorite album by them. So
Well, Isaac, we're running out of time. So, is there anything else you want to hit on before we finish up here, or?
that should be pretty much it from me. Like I said at the beginning, if you're interested in coming to check out Ruma,
He really loves that club, by the way, everybody.
Yeah.
Like, I hounded him to be here just from that club. I thought he'd be a cool first guest, specifically because of the fact that I knew UFC had an event this weekend. And, I mean, I was really, like, I liked the way they turned up the city. Like, New York with UFC is amazing, man. That's like the fight capital, yeah? Or is it really L.A.? Do you think
They
it
say
can
it's
be?
LA. I feel like, MSG is like the stadium, so you could go back and forth. I think, I don't know. I just like New York better, but
Well, that's because it's
That's
so
my-
close, maybe.
yeah.
And where are you going tomorrow? You're doing something tomorrow, which we're live right now. Wherever you're watching this on YouTube, this is happening right now live. So where are you going to be going tomorrow? What are you doing? You're doing a big thing,
Yeah,
a
I
big
got
presentation.
a
You're
research
a genius.
conference in New Orleans, so I'm hauling my butt down there.
Yeah, stalk him at the airport, everybody.
Yeah.
Isaac, thanks so much for coming to do this
Yeah,
with
thanks
me.
for
It
having
means
me.
so much. You have no clue. And you will definitely see me again soon at Ruma. I mean, yeah, this is so random, but I'm training to be a pro wrestler soon. So
Oh, that's awesome.
I hope so.
Yeah, I feel like, you could be like Brock Lesnar, do both.
Really? You think so?
For sure.
Like I say, he just came back last night. If y'all didn't see Monday Night Raw, you should really go watch it. It was like the best Raw they've had in a while. Thanks for being here with me, Isaac. It means so
Thanks
much,
so
my
much.
brother.
Thanks so much for having me.
Of course.
Pumping hard, pumping non-stop, the bag I had to earn. You can try, but you might fail again, you know you never learn. Hit me with a bottle, I was tripping. And I took a couple shots and now I'm dancing. It got me burning up, inside's burning up, yeah. Okay, I pull up, hop out at the after party. You and all your friends, yeah, they love that get naughty. Sipping on that hen, I know you love that Bacardi. 1942, I take you back in that Rari. Okay, I pull up, hop out at the after party. You and all your friends, yeah, they love that get naughty. 42, I take you back in that